Hey y'all, welcome to the Ready to Rain podcast. We're super excited. This week we are hosting Isaac Aleman Sr. If you guys got a chance to listen last week, his wife was on. We did episode 16 with Brandi Aleman, giving her side of the story. And this week we listened to his side of the story. So super excited. Again, it's going to be real and vulnerable. So make sure you're in the right headspace. But let's get ready to rain.
How does this sound and stuff?
Hold on.
Can you hear headphones too loud or too quiet? Or
Isaac Sr. Is that your beard? Oh my gosh. It's never a dull moment with you. I love it. Babe, can you check the sound?
But you got to deal with both of us sometimes, me and Junior. And I could tell when you're getting worn out by both of us. You know how I could really tell Reagan's a mom now?
I'm not as OCD as I was.
Nope. Your wedding ring.
My wedding ring?
Your ring.
You actually, you know why? Sorry. You know why I took it off?
Why?
Because I lost so much weight when me and Junior were packing those VIP boxes the other day. It flew off across the warehouse, and I was like, okay, I'm not wearing that. Like, I don't want to get it lost.
Was it a Tiffany ring?
Tiffany?
Yeah.
No, it was Diamonds Direct.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know, it's that. So Diamonds Direct used to be here in Utah, and then during COVID, they shut down. And so I get free ring changes. Well,
Now
when
you
I was
gotta send it.
when I was pregnant, I went and got it bigger because I wanted to wear it. And now I've lost so much weight that it doesn't fit me because I got smaller. But what I should have done is just got like a pregnancy ring.
You again get a pregnancy ring, push gift, get all that.
Yeah. No, it's still like buzzing.
That's not bad.
It's not terrible.
No.
We can just go for it. If you can Google it, if you could fix
I'm gonna
it.
sit here all awkward though and be like, yes. I'm gonna answer like really and be
Oh my gosh. Where do I even begin with you? Isaac Aleman. Did I say it right from last week?
yes, you said it right.
Said it right? Better?
Correct.
Well, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to have you on. Kind of doing a back-to-back couples 2 week to kind of get y'all's side of the story and dive in. You guys have like so much to talk about, and I feel like we didn't even touch all the details, but I'm excited to have you on.
Well, thank you, Reagan. I'm excited to be on your podcast.
So me and Isaac met each other 3.5 years ago when I started working at Black Rifle, and we weren't friends at first, but now I think we're friends.
Oh, I could say we definitely are friends. And your husband, remember, he had a lot to do with it.
That is true.
He's the one because we were going on a road trip to Total Archery Challenge, Montana. And I was like, oh, boy, this is going to be a tough trip, son. I don't know how we're going to do it because this Reagan, whenever we're on these Zoom meetings, she just looks like she hates us.
I have the worst RBF.
Yes.
The worst RBF.
Yes.
It's okay. We're working on it. I feel like it's gotten better.
Definitely way better.
Especially since I think like the first year of Black Rifle, so many people have like slacked me pictures during a meeting and been like, can you smile in this meeting? And so I think I've become like way more aware of it. But come on, Trigger, get on up there. So anyway, well, let's dive into your story. Let's go way back. We know how you and Brandi met. Do you want to go into there and then
Yes,
kind of take off onto your career?
I want to talk a little more about how Brandi and I met.
Okay.
Because there's a part, what's funny about the story is my best friend in the whole world, his name is Mike Valdez, and he was a year older than me. And we used to go to that 18 and older club, all right? No alcohol, 18 called the Bay.
Mm-hmm.
We would go, and I just, again, turned 18. He was a year older, so he was already going, and it was like our highlight to the week. And he already knew Brandi. He met Brandi when Brandi transferred to Granger. So Brandi and I were at the same school together.
Okay.
At one point, she was she's a year older than me, but then she got pregnant, and then she ended up leaving, finishing up school. So we really didn't cross paths. There's a chance we may have had a class together, but my friend Mike knew her, and so then when we met at the club that night, I go, Mike, who's that girl you're dancing with? And he goes, oh, that's Brandi. She's really cool. She used to let me cheat off her in math class, and she's got really nice boobs. His exact words. Later on, Brandi goes, he was my jump rope partner in gym.
Oh my gosh, stop.
So again, that's all my friend told me. So the whole night I'm dancing with Brandi. I'm just head over heels with her. She had long curly hair, the big brown eyes, the denim shorts. I mean, just hot, beautiful.
Smoke show.
Smoke show. I was like, dang, this girl. I mean, the first girl like I was really just, vibing with at the club. And then I walked her to her car and she said, yeah, I go, your makeup's scattered in the back. She goes, my daughter did it. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, yeah. She goes, didn't Mike tell you? I'm like, no. I'm like, all right, I'll see you later. So I go back to my buddy. I'm like, what the hell? You told me she used to let you cheat off her in class. She's really cool. She got big boobs. You didn't tell me she had a kid. He's like, well, I figured that was her business to tell you. I'm like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
So that threw me through the loop.
And that's hard because I feel like you want a heads up, but also like, okay, I respect that answer. Yeah.
Yes. So that's that part of the story of her, she kind of didn't dive deep into, but that's how it started. And then I ran into her at the mall when I was working at Foot Locker. Go, remember me? And she was so rude to me. And then we started working together at Copper Rivet, the clothing store. And again, you've worked with me. You know my personality. And again, she's like, why are you always happy? And somehow it clicked. I mean, I always kind of had this thing for her. And, she was still dating her baby daddy at the time, off and on. Mm-hmm. And I was just, I had a thing for her, I guess you could say. So, and it kind of led to us dating and being together for a long time.
Do you have a moment when you knew that she was going to be your person? Or
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
After we hooked up, I still wanted to hang out with her.
Oh,
swear to God, that's how I knew. I know it's cliche and everything, but that's how I just knew. I mean, we worked together. I mean, every day we hung out in that, and seriously, we hooked up. See, I'm saying the hooked up, y'all know what I mean. But I still wanted to hang out with her afterwards because she was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and so that was the main factor. And it was like one of those things where I just knew.
Yeah.
That's
so cool though.
Yeah. I mean, even though she was my very first girlfriend and first kiss, first everything. Yeah.
Oh, cute. So would you guys consider it like...
No, that's not true, Reagan. I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're lying to me?
Oh,
you're lying
really?
to me. Okay.
Come on.
Yeah, why am I not putting this together? I feel like I should know you better than that at this point. So you grew up in Utah then?
Born and raised Utah.
Okay.
Yep, born and raised Utah. Strong Catholic family.
Okay.
In Utah. I've lived two places my whole life. I lived at my parents' house, and then we built our house. We're still in now. Heck
yeah.
I'm the baby of the family. I was the oops. All my siblings were 9 years older, 8 years older, and then maybe 6 or 7 years older than me. Mm-hmm. And then there's me. Okay. And I'm the baby of the family.
And did you go to college, or is that when you decided to work into the industry?
No. Actually, so my dad worked for a place called Mercer Gold Mine. Okay. And they paid for your kids to go to college. They gave you full everything. Really? And I screwed that up. Oh. I couldn't do school. I'm not a school person.
Austin's not either.
It was really hard for me. I mean, even through like high school, my 2.0 GPA. I mean, I didn't realize till after high school I was kind of dyslexic in a way. When it came to reading and that. I mean, all these things I've learned after, but it was real rough. And they call it a scholarship. I lost a scholarship. I was supposed to be going to college, tried it, didn't. I worked all kinds of jobs. So after high school, the only skill I graduated high school with was typing. I knew how to type. Oh yeah, you were telling me that. Because if you took it when you're in 8th grade, then ninth grade, you start earning credits. But also, where are the girls going to be? Type class. So that's why I was a great type. I could type. Okay. So I averaged clerical job. I used to do clerical jobs. I used to average 3 to 5 jobs a year.
And that was when you were younger, just navigating what you wanted to do.
And so I finally, because I always wanted to go in the medical field, right? Physical trainer. That was the thing back in the 90s for a lot of guys. We want to be physical trainers. Sports medicine was the term they used back then. Okay. Yeah.
I could see where you could be pushed to doing that, but I don't, knowing you now, I could not see you being in that path.
I even tried law enforcement too. And, trying to find my way. what ended up happening is we got married young,
Mm-hmm.
and I was actually working for a dental office. I was a receptionist at a dental office, and that when we got married, that's the job I had. And she got a job in the mortgage industry.
Okay.
So for a lot of years, Brandi was the bread maker in the family. And I ended up getting a job at the state of Utah for the DMV for the health, basically for the healthcare benefits. So I held the benefits. She made the money.
Got it.
So, and I mean, and for me, it was like 18. I mean, we started dating when I was 18. And it got, things got serious. But I mean, I became a dad at 18 because she had Shaylin, our daughter.
Yeah.
And I raised her since, she was 2. I mean, she had some contact with her, she had contact with her dad, but it was more his mom. But still though, I was there from day one since she was, 2 years old, growing up. And I mean, she's mine. I mean, I've always considered mine, and
Yeah.
she's my daughter. So I became a dad at 18 quick. And it's crazy because my parents never said a word about me dating somebody with a kid or anything. I mean, it was just, go ahead, Isaac. Yeah, they knew I liked her, and they treated my daughter Shaylin. They treated her like one of the grandkids.
That's so cute.
Well,
That's really important. Like having that support from your parents to like start your own family is so important.
Well,
and now I have a kid, and being able to rely on both sets of grandparents is like, I don't know what I would do if I couldn't rely on our parents.
it's huge, and her family's great. And then with my family though, I grew up with, so I'm the baby of the family. So I had my sisters each had kids. One of them had 3 kids at the time, and another sister had 2. So I grew up around kids. So that's why I was easy growing up with kids, being the young uncle. I mean, I was always around kids and babies, so that's why I'm fine holding them and playing with them and that. And so it was really easy for, when I met her and her daughter, and I never even, it's weird, it's never crossed my mind that just accepting her as mine. It was just I did it. You just did it.
Yeah.
And I treated her just like my daughter, and through the years, I mean, being a stepdad is hard. And I will just kind of fast forward ahead. The best thing happened ever, because my biggest fear when, jumping into this and as we got serious getting married was, who's going to walk her down the aisle? And it was me. And that was probably one of the greatest things ever. I used to keep me up at night worrying about that.
Why would that moment worry you?
Just because as you're a stepdad, let's be real. Stepdads don't get a lot of love.
Mm-hmm.
Some step parents don't either. I mean, come on, evil stepmother, evil stepdad. I mean, you always hear the stories.
Yeah, the Disney trains you to think that they're evil or a certain
exactly.
way. Yeah.
At least Pornhub has a different take on stepmoms. But anyway,
I need to put a rating on this podcast.
But anyway, when it comes to step parents, they get a bad rap.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, and I never looked at her as not mine. I mean, it was simple. And so, you put a lot into it, and then, her dad would come, once a month or once in a while come to get her.
Mm-hmm.
And being a little girl, she would be like, excited in that and to see him and everything. And it just, you're putting so much in, and sometimes you feel like you're getting nothing back. It's just, and it was really hard, because also too, just the jealousy too, and that, because again, I've experienced with Melissa, right? Dads are the fun ones. Moms are the ones that handle everything. And he was kind of the fun dad every once in a while. But the time, as time went on, she really kind of just, accepted me. And even with my family too, I mean, with my nephews and that, I'll never forget, we're driving one time, and they're all teenagers, and they're like, oh man, Shaylin gets really tan skin. I'm like, well, she's my daughter. She takes after me, because, that's why I'm so tan. They're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, no, guys, they know, and they know she's not biologically mine, but they're like for him, for like my nephews, my family, even my son, Junior, that doesn't even cross their mind that she's not biologically mine.
Yeah.
But what makes it hard is her kids don't know.
But they're still little,
No,
right?
they're 12 and what's the other one? 8 and 12.
Oh, why did I think they were little? Oh,
And,
okay.
and what's funny is they let people know that, hey, I'm a quarter Mexican. So maybe if they see this podcast, they'll know and they could talk to their mom about that one.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So when do you think the change was from like having, I don't know if imposter syndrome is the right word of like for a stepdad, but when did you think that switched to you were like, actually, that's not how the relationship is. It's actually deeper than that.
After when she was in her 20s.
Okay.
Because again, you're raising a daughter, a rebellious daughter.
Yeah, teenager.
A teenager.
Yeah.
I mean, it is hard raising girls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a switch, Reagan. I'm telling you, it's so weird. Even sweet little Melissa, when she went through puberty, that switch went on. And she had this attitude sometimes where she just did not want to be bothered. There's this, what is it? I don't know what it is, but I feel sometimes with teenage girls, there's this thing that switches off and they don't want to be around nobody. They want to be left alone in their room with music playing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things. And so my daughter was very rebellious girl. I mean, she's the one that came home, tatted up, tattoos all over. And it wasn't until she got married and then I walked her down the aisle, I really noticed that's when it really kicked in. Because her and I, we butted heads. We were young parents too.
Yeah.
And it's the thing is one of the things, and even Junior saw this, and he even saw a quote that said, "You may not realize this, but while you were growing up, you also watched your parents grow up."
Yeah, I feel like me and Austin have talked about it a couple times. Like, we're at the age our parents were when they had us. And so it's weird to like be like, oh my gosh, I'm the age my parents were. And I feel like I have no idea what's going on. And I'm learning day by day. And I call my mom every 10 seconds and ask her questions. And so, yeah, it is true. Like, you're both kind of growing up together, definitely in different stages of life. But
yeah, I mean, it is. Each kid changed me in a way, you can't explain. It's a cliche thing to say, but it truly is. I mean, because if it wasn't for Brandi and Shaylin, honestly, when I graduated high school, my dad asked, "So what are you going to do?" And I'm like, "I'm going to get a season pass to the water park and find a job working part-time." My dad's like, "No, you can get a full-time job and then you're going to go to school." I'm like, "Well, all right, but I'm getting school paid for, so I got to get a job. I mean, your mom just give me money." Really, that's what I thought.
yeah.
And I was just kind of, because I'm the baby of the family, carefree.
Yeah.
Mom and dad spoiled me, and I just did what I want and just chilled. And if it wasn't for Brandi and Shaylin, I mean, I don't think I would have settled down. I probably would have just, probably would have been in my 20s, hanging out with my friends, going to the water park, hitting the clubs.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where even in some of my family members, I remember my aunt even told me, she goes, "I didn't think you'd ever settle down," just because I never really had a serious girlfriend. And any girls I did date, I didn't bring them around the family.
Yeah.
And so Brandi was the first one I brought around the family. I got real serious with. And again, she had a little girl, and it was just right away. I mean, she's the one that made me grow up, because Brandi was a growing up. We were raised so differently. She's the oldest, independent, has a kid, worked from 16. I'm the baby of the family, was given everything and just carefree.
Yeah. So when do you think that there was like a switch in your mind of when you're like, okay, I have to be responsible, or do you think it just kind of came over time?
It just started coming over time, and it was really kind of Brandi, like, because when we even got married too, my parents finished a basement so we could stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandi and I remember we went to Windover, and I won like some money, and Brandi's like, well, let's put a down payment on a house. I'm like, why? And so, and it's one of those.
You're
things.
like, why would you think of that?
Yeah, I
like,
think of that because at my parents' house, like, they took turns cooking, because I was the baby, I was the only one there. We had our rooms, and you get so comfortable and used to doing things. Brandi's the one that got me out of my comfort zone, and that was kind of the unique thing about her, because she was willing to go travel and do things. Because growing up, the way I grew up is we went to New Mexico every year, where my dad's family's from, to visit his grandma who helped raise them. That she lived to be like 102, and then we had the deer hunt, and those are the two things we did. When I met Brandi was like, "Let's go to Arizona. Let's go travel here." And I'm like, "Why?" I wasn't used to it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just so used to being right there in Utah, because my dad worked, my mom worked, and we didn't travel much as a family, just to those places. Like, I lived in Utah, and I've never been to Zion National Park. I've never been to Flaming Gorge. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. A lot of stuff I haven't done. We've just deer hunt and New Mexico.
So did you grow up hunting your whole life
Yep.
then?
Grew up hunting my whole entire life with my pops.
Okay.
Yep. We hunted deer.
Okay.
Yep. Mule deer.
And then when did you decide to switch and work in the industry?
It kind of happened by accident. So all through high school, again, I was girl crazy. I chased girls. All right. And then, of course, you heard the story where Melissa's name came from.
Mm-hmm.
Girl I was friends with. I got friend zoned.
Okay.
2 years I was friend zoned with this girl, but she ended up being a great friend. And it's remarkable how we're still friends to this day and how she came around. Because even after high school, I was still kind of like, and Brandi knew about her, knew she was my crush, and but then as time grew, she got to know her, meet her, and you're like, dang, she's amazing. Melissa is amazing.
Yeah.
And fun fact on this. There's a couple fun fact on this.
Okay.
So her name was Melissa Jones, high school crush. So then she had a little sister named Jody.
Okay.
All right. Come to find out, down the road, Melissa was staying up at the hospital one time, and Jody, Melissa Jones' sister, was our Melissa's nurse. Her little sister was her nurse.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And then Melissa's husband was Junior's teacher in high school.
Oh.
Yep. Because one
Small world.
Yeah, one day he pulled Junior out of class. He goes, "Come here, I'm gonna talk to you." He goes, "Hey, I know that your dad and my wife are really good friends, so if you ever need anything, let me know." And that's the
That's
types
so
of
sweet.
family they are. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's where so that's kind of the story there is I was always girl crazy, and then, friend zoned by her, but then, chasing girls. So I was into hunting, but I wasn't that into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got married, then I switched, and being married now, when you get married, guy gets married, he has a lot of different hobbies. I wanted to snowboard, mountain bike, hunt, fly fish, do all these things. And for me, I actually did not kill my first deer until the year 2000. And so, I mean, because I've been hunting since I was like 14, but we had a bad winter kill and we really didn't know how to hunt back then.
The knowledge that's out there now is so
Yes.
vastly different from what it was.
Yes.
It's a completely different world and completely different industry.
So once that happened, I shot that first deer. That was it. I was obsessed with hunting.
Was your first deal with a gun or
It
a
was
bow?
a gun.
Okay.
I didn't get into bow hunting until Melissa.
Okay.
I was actually against bow hunting for a while because the place I used to hunt, the Wasatch Front, we hunted with a rifle. They closed it to archery only.
Mm.
And it wasn't until when Melissa, so if you heard this Brandi story, Melissa got sick and was in the hospital, and people brought me hunting magazines, and somebody brought me a bow hunting magazine. And from that bow hunting magazine, I started, just started researching, looking at things. And one of the articles was by this guy named Cameron Haynes. And I was like, this guy backpacks in, he does this is so cool. And so I was like, maybe I should get into bow hunting. And then it was after Melissa got out of the hospital, my mom was like, I'm watching Melissa, you guys go do something. And Brandi said, do you want to go to the archery store? Let's go to the archery store. I went to this archery shop, met the guy there. And then she said, hey, there's this movie that's going to be showing at this movie theater. You should, go check it out. And I saw that movie and I was like, oh, I want to bow hunt now. And then I started going to the archery shop, and the guys were just the guy over there, his name's Big G, over there at the archery shop, was so good to me. It was that was my bar. I would go hang out at that archery shop all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And during this whole entire time, while this was going on, me getting into hunting, is where I discovered Badlands backpacks.
Okay.
And I showed up there one day at their office, and I said, hey, my name's Isaac. I work at the DMV. Here's my card. And I know everyone knows how bad it is to register a car. Like, you ever need anything done, you come straight to me. I'll put you to the front of the line. You don't ever have to wait in line again. And it was the president of the company. And so he gave me a backpack, and then I used to go over there and, hey, if there's a show you have, I'll work the show for free for you. And so I was like a little pro staff member back in this that had been like probably 06, 05, 06 year. And so that relationship built, and here's another fun fact is while I was doing this, I had a friend of mine and we're like, we need to create a website where we sell hunting gear. And we started huntbackcountry.com was our little business. And we drop ship backpacks from Badlands, a sleeping bag company. But this was early 2000s.
Yeah.
And it, before like the Google search engines and everything, I mean, my email address was Yahoo and Hotmail, I think, or something like that.
Got it. Yeah.
So we had a little online business we tried to run in this, and we went to the expo show and sold backpacks for Badlands and that, and just failed miserably at it. And then what happens when two best friends go into business? Sometimes don't work out. So that's how my connection came with Badlands. And so then working at the DMV, Brandi's in the mortgage industry. Mortgage industry tanks 08. And then for myself, she got a job at the state. So we're working together at the state. And I kind of got demoted at the state. Got stuck back in the call center.
Okay.
And an opportunity came up for Easton Archery for customer service. And I got that job, took it. Because Brandi's like, I got the benefits now. So I went over there. And when I was there, Badlands goes, listen, I want to make you my sales manager. And I'm like, well, I don't know anything about sales. He goes, I don't care. He goes, listen, he said, the president of Badlands said, Isaac, I will hire you as a sales manager. And he goes, if you work at Easton for 5 years, you'll be stuck in customer service for 5 years. He goes, if I hire you, Easton will want to hire you back in 5 years. And I am not lying. I started at Easton in 08 and I started Badlands in 08 and Easton hired me back in 2013 and as a sales manager.
Okay.
And so from there, Easton, and again, making connections and led to Black Rifle Coffee and now All In. So that's how my hunting career started. And the bow hunting thing probably would have never, I don't know if it would have happened because, again, I got into bow hunting when Melissa was in the hospital the first time. Mm-hmm. And then Brandi told the story where 5 months later she relapsed. So like cold sore. Okay, it came back. So she had the
So
meningitis.
you got into the bow hunting at that when she was the 2 weeks old.
Yeah, I was interested in it. Yeah, I was kind of interested in it. I mean, I've always been hunting, but I kind of was bow curious there for a minute.
Okay.
And then
Okay. See what you did there?
So, and I'm like, okay, I checked this out. So then, I slowly got into it from there.
Okay.
And then I ended up, then she relapsed. Melissa relapsed.
At her 6 months.
5-6 months.
5-6 months, yeah.
Yep.
In that December.
Yes. And that was the one, that did the damage right there, my poor baby. Because she was able to hold her head up and do a lot more things. And we really thought she was going to be a vegetable then. And then, so Brandi worked for the mortgage company at the time. And again, certain companies, I mean, let's be real. I mean, some of them, you're just an employee. And thank God at the state, they had the FMLA Act where family medical leave.
Yeah.
And I took 3 months off. And what was so cool is the people there donated their vacation hours so I can take the full 3 months off and take care of Melissa.
Really?
Yes. So that December, but then that January, my dad went down with bacterial meningitis and a tumor and put him down. And so at one point, I was taking care of my dad and Melissa. My dad's my hero. My dad's the type of guy, never sick, never goes to the doctors, type of like mechanic. One time he smashed the finger completely, went to the ER, got it stitched up, put a rubber glove on and continued to work, finish his shift. That type of guy. And he went down and it was really hard for me. And I would go over and I'd take care of both of them because I was on FMLA with Melissa. Mm-hmm. And that's when I got my bow. And that's when I started shooting my bow. And that made everything better. Everything better shooting my bow. It was so cool. I read every book I could about bow hunting, archery and that. And Brandi was so amazing because she would come home from work and I'd go home, come home from work, and she'd be like, okay, go to your archery shop. And I went to the archery shop and just hung out, shot my bow, and hung out with people.
Yeah.
and Junior following along with me.
Yeah. And I mean, you
You're
can kind of
5 years old, 4
Yeah.
or 5 years old, and my little buddy. And really, the archery thing was near and dear to my heart. That's why I really enjoyed like at Black Rifle Coffee when we started doing stuff with the veterans. It's weird how something so simple as archery can really help somebody through a difficult time.
Yeah.
So cool.
When did you decide to go? Because I think it's one thing to like get into archery and like shoot, and then it's one thing to start being like preparing to hunt. When did you start bow hunting? Was it that season?
Yes. So what happened was I started reading every book I can about hunting,
Mm-hmm.
bow hunting, books, everything. And I started bow hunting actually. So I got my bow, 04. I did my first bow hunt in 05. And Utah
Okay.
has a dedicated hunter program where it's muzzleloader, rifle, and archery. You could do them all together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I joined that program and did that. And one of the things is I read all the books, did everything it said, went up to where I hunt, and I found like the biggest deer I've ever seen by doing everything in the books. Didn't get him that year. All right. So the following year, I got that deer. I ended up getting it.
Oh,
And
that's
it was so cool because it was a thing where, like we'd get back from the hospital and everything. And Brandi just knew. Sometimes Brandi knows when she goes, you need to get out and you need to get out. You need to go do something because I'm too uptight, wound up, whatever, And again, as a dad, you don't realize you're doing it, but you stress about it a lot. And, you shouldn't have regrets in life. But one of my biggest regrets, and I was talking to Junior about this, is when you're a parent is we struggled. We didn't make a lot of money, we jumped into being married, house, kids, and everything, and medical bills. And we really struggled a lot. And we were constant in this fight or flight mode. And I look back and I'm like, I wish I could have enjoyed it a little bit more. Not just be in this fight or flight mode and worry about this and that and that. And so it's really hard, when you're a parent, when you just, you just worry about the kids, you worry about everything than being a dad, and, just everything. And Brandi would know. So she would say, you need to go to the mountains, And, she never, people like, even my buddy goes, how does your wife let you do everything? I'm like, she doesn't let me. She just supports me. She tells me, go hunting, go, just get out, go. And it was a good thing. And so like once I got into bow hunting and everything, it became a year-round thing. That became my passion. And that was it. I mean, that was the one thing I had. I worked, and then dad, and then the hunting season.
Yeah. How did you balance doing all, I mean, I guess bow hunting, but like, let me see how I'm asking this question. I don't know how I'm asking my question. I guess I'd say, like, how did, like, at the end of the day, how would you really balance? Like, what would that look like for being a dad, or for like working, or trying to take care of Melissa, or like trying to make sure that Junior still has his time? Like,
So going back to the time when Melissa got sick, so let's just kind of rewind where Melissa got sick that second time.
mm-hmm.
Junior was in daycare.
Okay.
He was in preschool, I guess you would call it. And all the kids in the class were already close to a first grade reading level. And we were so focused on Melissa, we I hate to say it, but kind of like just didn't really pay attention. My daughter, Shaylin, she was older, she was in school, but she was really just kind of, Shaylin's always just been very self-efficient, I guess you could say. And
independent.
And she's very independent.
Yeah.
Yeah. The oldest usually is.
Yeah.
And, we didn't have to worry about, only thing we had to worry about her was just girl drama. But other than that, she was really smart. Junior, on the other hand, he was in preschool and he fell behind. And that's when Brandi's like, no more. No. She's like, you focus with him. And that's where, again, for the longest times, I can't remember when he started daycare, but for a lot of years, the daycare was next door to where I worked, another government building. Well, he carpooled with me for 3-4 years. He's my carpool buddy.
Yeah.
And so we caught him up on that. And then as far as bouncing things out, it worked out, but it just worked out because we had a good understanding. At first, I was very selfish. So I will admit, I was very selfish. And I'm like, yeah, well, Brandi's good. Brandi's at home. She's with Melissa, whatever. And I was just doing my thing. doing my thing, because she was letting me go. And what is it? You give somebody an inch, they take a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, oh, she's so used to me go, I'm just going to go, not even disregard her. And I'll remember when, it kind of hit home, and it's like, I got to remember her too. Because it got to the point where it's like, okay, I want to go do my thing. I got Junior, got Shaylin, got Melissa, I got my job. I kind of forgot about her. And that's where we kind of started initiating date nights and doing stuff together. And her Vegas trips and taking her to Vegas. And just her and I, no other people, just her and I. So that's where you really started bouncing things out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird. I look back now, I was like, how did I do all that stuff with the time? Because I have more time now, and I'm like, why do I feel like I don't have enough time? But back then I did. And it worked out great. I mean, because I never missed, I could say I never missed any games. If I did miss one of Shaylin's dance, because I was home with Melissa, because I would stay home with Melissa and Junior, so Brandi and Shaylin could go to dance, because my daughter was a beautiful dancer. She was in, the drill team and stuff like that. So she did the dances. Brandi and her did that. I'd stay home with Melissa and Junior, then I'd go do my stuff on the weekends. So it was a good balance. But one of the things I really had to put myself in check one time, because, we did, Brandi and I, we did really butt heads. Again, we've been together 30 years. I mean, and
I'm sure you have a lot of secrets you could tell for success.
A lot of secrets for success, but honestly, that's one of the, everybody tells me people say, oh, you're a great dad and that. And I'm proud to be a dad, but one of my favorite things, like, I do like to brag about, and I know it's, you shouldn't brag, but I love letting people know how long I've been married for, because the odds were against us.
Yeah.
I mean, young, money problems, everything happening, with the kids and, Melissa, and just the highs and lows of life. I mean, I look back, it's like, wow, we made it. We made it through this, and everything we've been through, we've made it. And through the whole thing too, we're able to keep our house. We never lied. The one thing we never, ever did was, default on our house. So I was like, we have our house, we each other. I mean, we've been together like 30 years. Like, dang, I mean, that's one of my things I'm really proud about, is just being married as long as I've been.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's hard. I mean, marriage is hard, because it kind of goes back to what you're saying earlier. Like, you both are kids growing up, right? Yeah. Like, and you as individuals grows as completely different people. And you have to learn to fall in love with that person at every stage of their life. And then every layer and every stress and every trial that you guys go through. And it's hard.
It is. And it's so interesting too, because I look back who I was at 21, 25, those years. I'm like, wow, it blows my mind, the person who I was back then. I look back, I'm like, whoa, I have changed so much. Mm-hmm. And that, you see all these videos now of these. I love it when you watch these college kids debate people, on social media.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing.
I really hope that they get these kids information, who's debating them and going off and finding them when they're in their 40s. Say, hey, how do you feel now compared to then? Because how much you change through the years, it's wild. And the great thing is we were able to change together and kind of still have the same views and principles.
Yeah.
And that's one of the cool things about it. And I mean, I will be real. I mean, Brandi is pretty low maintenance, except for her, her heels, her shopping. But other than that, she's pretty low maintenance. I mean, she's been really good at just supporting me. Brandi's like a mom. She is your typical mom. She puts people first. One of the stories I'll tell you is, so Melissa used to have these seizures, and she'd also start throwing up, gagging. So, Melissa severe cerebral palsy, so she really couldn't move.
So yeah, let's clarify that, because I don't know if I clarified in that last one. Like, what was her actual diagnosis? I think we said it for a second.
That's a mom question.
I should have asked you that.
So it was severe cerebral palsy. Yeah, okay. Umbrella term.
The umbrella term is severe cerebral.
So she had cerebral palsy. Now, there's many levels of it. She was to the point where she had a feeding tube. Mm-hmm. She couldn't talk. She couldn't walk. She had seizures, everything.
Okay.
And I'll never forget, we're in the family room, multi-level home. We're like this, and Junior and I are watching TV, and Brandy's on a beanbag asleep, dead asleep. And next thing you know, she pops up, and there's like, I'll never forget it. There's a laundry basket in the middle of the floor because Junior and I were probably supposed to be putting away our laundry, but we didn't. Brandy pops up, hurdles the laundry basket, and runs. I'm like, we're like, what are you doing? She goes, don't you hear her choking? And I'm like, no. And the mother's instinct is, I mean, it's real. There are times I'd watch Brandy like be snoring and then pop up out of bed when Melissa starts choking. Because she would literally like be sitting there, have a seizure. And even when she's having a seizure, she would start choking. And Brandy would just jump up. And, if you go back and watch her podcast, I just tell her she was being way too humble. Because what she did for that little girl is unreal. I mean, she sacrificed a lot for her. I mean, to the point to where, again, like I say, they go, what's the trick to a long marriage? I'm like, my wife has no friends. That's why we're married so long. Because, I mean, really, she's been a caretaker for 18 years. A mom for over 30, then a caretaker for 18 years, and Melissa was her life. And that's what it was. I mean, she dedicated everything to her. She dedicated so much to Melissa to the point where, again, that's why the joke is Melissa loves dad more, is because Melissa was annoyed by mom because mom did everything for her. I mean, Brandi did it all. And it got to the point where I used to try and help, and I was just in the way. So I would tell people is Brandi's job to take care of Melissa, my job to take care of Brandi. And that's what, once we kind of got that line, and then she finally did let me help. Because again, I'm dad, I do everything wrong. I'm sure with Austin, you try to have him, he does it wrong.
Yeah.
So, but with Melissa, I end up being the fun one. And so with Brandi, I always say you didn't give yourself enough credit for what you did for her, because just imagine every night before you go to bed, you got to lay out her medication. She's got 10 different medications taken at certain times in a bottle, measured out precisely. And you had to get that bottle, wake up at 4 a.m., mix them up, put them in a feeding tube, then hook her up to a feeding machine, make sure the formula and the water is right on there, hook her up, feed her, get ready for work, and, get her ready for school because she had to go to school. And then on the way to school, she'd have a seizure, they'd give her a certain kind of medication, and that medication will usually put her down. So Brandi had to leave work, go pick her up from there. I mean, Melissa's seizures were so bad at one point, like, whenever they gave her these medications, they had to call the fire department. Because they're so severe. I mean, it got to the point where even Brandi said, she goes, hey, at least this time the hot firefighter was there this time.
She was saying like there was a point where you guys got so familiar with all of the EMTs and all the firefighters, and you knew them by name. And
yes, but she's the one that handled it, and and Brandi's a super independent person, very independent. So she wanted to handle it herself. And there are times where you do got to step back and like, okay, let her do it. But it was, I mean, it really, there are times she didn't have a life. I mean, when you have someone who can't move, can't speak, can't talk, and they're, she'd have a seizure, she'd start throwing up, and she's choking on it, and she's, you're trying to clear the air pathway, hold her, get her. And there are times where and I wouldn't be home, and Brandi would handle it all. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's a mother's love. You just can't, it's closest thing to God. I remember they said, I mean, mom on the lips of children is the word of God in a way, because that love is so strong. You and the bond is so strong. You just can't explain it, And it's even when, but Melissa, Brandi would always say, Melissa loves you. She don't like me. But when Melissa was sick, and when all kids are sick, who do they want? They want their mom. And, I told her, I go, there are times, and when Brandi would come home from work and Melissa would know, I go, mommy's home, Melissa would get all excited. So it's one of those things where it's, being a mom for a special needs child is extremely hard, but rewarding to them at the same time. I mean, Brandi really put that time in. Brandi knew, the research, knew so much. I mean, I don't know if she talked about the story, but we're talking to the head of neurology over there, and they're talking about medications. And Brandi and him are going back and forth, and Brandi's naming him off, and he goes, "Oh wow, so Brandi, do you work in the healthcare field?" She goes, "No, I do my own research."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh wow," and it's she knew so much, and I got to the point where I'm just like, "You tell me what you need me to do." I'd be the one to take Melissa to her appointments, and it would be. I just put Brandi on FaceTime. Hey, I know I'm supposed to take care of this, but here you go. Give FaceTime, give it to Brandi, the doctor here. Talk to Brandi.
Yeah.
Because Brandi knew the medications, the milligrams, all this stuff. To me, it's like, I don't know any of that. I mean, honestly, I actually worried. I'm like, honey, if anything ever happened to you, what would I do? I would not know what to do. I would be so helpless, with Melissa.
And so if her job was providing and taking care of the babies,
Mm-hmm.
yours was taking care of Brandi.
Yeah.
How would you make sure that she had the balance? Because I think at the end of the day, if mama's not okay or balanced, then I don't think anybody is. So how did you?
Once a month, it does sound silly, but we would, because I did travel at the time. I was working got my job in the industry with travel, rack up points. We didn't have a lot of money, but we would go get a hotel room downtown. And listen, we're even close in our 50s, and we still love going to nightclubs. And I would take her out.
Yeah.
I would take her out. Brandi needed a few things in life: food, water, the occasional compliments, heels, and her Tito's. Okay, once in a while. But really, I mean, so her balance was, I would take her out to do things, and then, take her out, and then we'd take her to our Vegas trip, or her and I, and we didn't hang out with a lot of other. That's why I said we don't have no friends, but it's because when you hang out with other couples and that, you're still not connecting with one another. So her and I would just go together. But you're opposite, because how long were you in Austin before you had Legend? How long were you guys together for?
We got married in 2019, and we just had him in 24. So we were together for 5 years before we had a kid.
So Brandi and I have never experienced that part in life, because when I met her, she had her daughter, Shaylin. Yeah. And that was, so that was early 90, that was like 95. And then we had Junior in 2000. Mm-hmm. And so then Melissa came in 2004. And so it was one of those things where it kind of just happened. I realized, you know what? I'm not going to try to plan stuff with other people. Just her and I are going to go out. It's going to be no hunting, nothing work related, just her and I. And we're going to go out. We're going to dress up. We're going to go to the bar, the club, people watch, listen to music, dance, and just hang out and have fun.
Yeah.
And that's how we took care of her. And I made sure to do that. Like, so if I had a hunting trip coming up, I knew, okay, we're going to go do a trip, go to Vegas. But once a month, we always did something. Always.
Yeah. I feel like that's so important, because like it's so hard to find the time for just you two.
Yes.
Because you're so, like, life is just busy, and like kids take a lot of like your attention, and to set aside that time, it doesn't even have to be once a week. It just like, even just like, Kate, once a month we are doing this, I think is like so important. And
so my family, we end up having a big family, a lot of nieces and nephews, and we would always do so much with my family as well. And we were always doing stuff with them. So I was doing stuff with them, and then of course, then us, work stuff. So the importance for her and I just being able to go out and do things was really big.
Yeah.
And I think that was like the thing for her, is just let her break away and let her do her thing.
And just like have just pure fun.
Yes, pure fun.
Like not think about anything, not have to think about like, I don't know.
Well, so there are times, Reagan, too. I actually would get her a hotel room downtown for herself to hang out. And then I'd come way later, because it was that movie Date Night. I don't know if you remember the movie Date Night with Steve Carell and Tina Fey. I am such like a rom-com. Is it a rom-com? Yeah.
I'm such a rom-com person, but I don't know if I've seen
There's
that
a
one.
part in there where they've been married forever. They do once a week date night where they just go to dinner. But he asked, he goes, what are your fantasies? And she said, after I'm done dealing with the kids and boogers and fixing everything for everybody, you know what I think about is a quiet room, nobody around me, nobody bugging me, and a diet Sprite. And that was her fantasy. And I remember we saw that, and there are times I'm like, Brandi, go to the hotel room, chill out. I mean, there have been times too where I let her go, and she'd spend the night there by herself and just have alone time. Because you think about it, Melissa was an 18-year-old, 2-month-old. You know, diapers, all that stuff. Diapers, formula, feeding, all the medication, can't communicate very well with us. And so Brandi had, for 18 years, she had a 2-month-old that was the size of her, ended up being the size of her. And so that's why there were times there for a while. I'm like, Brandi, just go get away, chill. And then, my oldest daughter, she's got 2 boys. They were into baseball. My son-in-law was a coach. And there are times, she'd go to their, tournaments. She'd go down and I'd stay home with Melissa. And those are the best because Brandi would lay out all the stuff, her medication. She had a morning because, you got to feed her 3 times a day with the formula. I always called it watering Melissa. And her formula for the week, for however long Brandi's going to be gone there, medication already in there, everything all set up. All I had to do was just pour them into the feeding tube, hook her up, and feed her. And there are a few times Brandi would come home. Why do we have leftover formula and medication here? Did you not? I'm like, shit. I'm like, hey, she's still alive though. Okay, so all right, she's okay.
That's such a dad thing.
I know. Well,
I'm like, okay, make sure you do this and this and this, and then I come home. I'm like, what happened? Oh no, we were just playing. I'm like, such a dad thing.
It is, and another unique thing is Melissa sometimes would not let her sleep. She would just start fussing, and then Brandi would be right in there right away, over her, hovering over her, making sure everything's okay. Because with Melissa, you don't realize when you have someone like that, they're sick. Okay, let's go through the checklist. All right, is there anything poking you? Is there anything digging into you? Okay, check the body for sore. Okay, you're changed. Your people. Okay, you're good there. Do you have a fever? Because they can't talk to you. All right, look at the mouth. I mean, Brandi would be. You got to realize is Melissa's there, and she can't communicate, but Brandi would go in there with the sponge, wet her mouth every few hours. Make sure to wet her mouth, clean out her mouth. All right. Make sure there's not a hair in her eye that's, fluttering, bugging her, just any little thing Brandi would just go through and just check on her. I mean, but she had to. And it's, one of the biggest compliments we got about Melissa, in a way, and it did kind of break my heart, is whenever she went to a school, they would always say, Melissa is so clean. She's so clean. You guys are doing such a good job. But it broke my heart. It's like, what about these other kids that are being cared for? Are they just, and a way it would break your heart. And Brandi would always worry that Melissa was dirty.
Yeah.
But they go, she's so clean. But I mean, Brandi would do a better job than even when Melissa would be in the, up at the NICU or something, or, in the hospital, those nurses, they still again, they can't do better than mom. And, she was right there. I mean, Brandi had this routine down where it was, medicine, food, what was wrong with her. And she was just amazing with it. So it's a thing. So yeah. So being able to take Brandi, so you got to realize when you're in a situation where you're constantly worrying about it, for her out, anything for her was an out was cool. Was great.
Yeah.
And so
I know we kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday, but how has the transition been to now being empty nesters?
It's hard because we still got the grief. It is. You just miss them so much. And you think you have all this freedom. You think you're prepared for this. And I'm like, okay. After she passed, I remember well, listen, because before my biggest fear was too, again, they said it would happen, but I never believed it. I'm like, I need to make sure she's taken care of if something happens to us. And any one of my kids would have picked up and taken care of her.
I'm like, I don't want you kids to worry about that. I want to get a good life insurance policy. I want to get a trust where she can go to the nicest facility and you kids make sure she's taken care of. And I just used to worry, God, man, sending her to a home, it's just if something happened to us, or when we got older, we couldn't move her around. Like, what are we going to do? I remember like, I'm going to sell all my hunting gear just so I have enough money if I get old enough to where we need to. And I used to worry because there was never a time where I thought she was going to pass and Brandi and I would have freedom like we do. So then she does pass, and I remember thinking, we're going to have this freedom, but you don't. I mean, we definitely do a lot more. I mean, it's crazy that we could go to Costco on a Tuesday. Because before, again, what Melissa is Brandi and I couldn't even go to Walmart together. We couldn't even go get a cup of coffee together because taking her out became such a chore. And then she didn't do good in loud places and it triggers seizures. Because when you have a brain injury, when you're around a lot of lights, I mean, we learned even driving in a car when the sun's flashing through the trees trigger a seizure on her. Okay, the loud ambient noises would trigger a seizure on her. And people are always like, well, you should take her to Disneyland and do that for her Make-A-Wish. And I'm like, no, she does not want to do it. Because like a lot of people do that, but like she doesn't want to be in a car. She doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I remember when they said, when her Make-A-Wish came up, they said, what does she want? Like, what would she like? And they go, with kids with needs like this, we could either A, put some really cool lights in the room and we could do a light show for them, or we could do a hot tub. And I and Brandi were like, yep, hot tub. But then we put her in the hot tub and she couldn't regulate her body temperature. So it was really hard for her in the hot tub to wipe her out and trigger a seizure.
Yeah.
So we really never had any kind of freedom. And now that we have it now, it's nice to be able to do that. But sometimes it's still hard because, we still just because towards the end it was fun, and COVID was kind of a cool thing because it was in the evenings, hang out with Melissa, turn on the Big Bang Theory or DoorDash food.
Yeah.
Melissa would be in the corner. I'd be on the couch. Brandi would be in the other chair, and we'd sit there and hang out. And we still do that to this day. I think it's just a comfort thing, but we still haven't really tapped into it. And, it's hard because, it's been 2 years now, and it never goes away. I don't know if it ever will. I don't know if we'll ever be the same people we were. And it's hard because like we are empty nesters and I have to remind myself, and that's why you'll hear me talk about it. I'm an empty nester now. Yeah. But I'm convincing myself, yes, you're an empty nester. Get out, do things. And we're doing things, but there's still a part of us that coming home is the hard part.
Yeah.
Because whenever we came home, we'd go out and do something. We'd come home. We always came home to Melissa. She was there, happy, ready to see us because she needed a break from us sometimes. And now, I mean, we come home, and that first year was really hard coming home. Even coming home from hunts. I'd come home from a hunt because I'd know she'd be right there. I mean, Brandi would even send Junior and I a text. I even have a text that says, you guys come in, be quiet, or I'll drop kick your asses. All right? But we'd come home. Melissa would know when we got home. She's like, it's like she knew the presence. When Brandi was coming home, Junior was coming over, I was coming home, she'd be all excited. And so we're still transitioning that. We haven't figured that part out, Reagan. Yeah. We have not. It's hard. I mean, the thing about grief is, people are there for you and they're great, but life keeps moving on. And for people grieving, it doesn't move on. You're stuck. And you're just stuck right there. And you just try to make the best out of the days you can. It's rough. And then we got to remember too, our kids lost somebody too. And we got to remember about them. And there's people out there though, who've, lost people. And, it's like one of those things where it's like, we got to remember, yes, be there for other people, move forward, but man, it is hard to do.
What advice would you give somebody going through the thick of it?
Oh, man.
And I know you're
there's a quote I saw, the darkest hour is only 60 minutes. and do it cold turkey. Stay away from any Xanax, any alcohol, drugs. I totally understand why people go to substances. I could totally understand and see why, because that pain is so bad that it just eats at your soul, and it just changes who you are as a person, changes your beliefs. Again, like, you know, I feel I'm bipolar sometimes. I really, it's like the ups and downs and that, and it just hits you out of nowhere sometimes, you know? So recently I got to go to South Africa on a trip, and we did some stuff for the community, and I went to the disabled school there and saw this little girl there. She kind of had the same smile, freckles and everything, special needs. And I felt like I relapsed. It hit me so hard seeing that little girl. It hurt all over again. And I just remember I had to actually leave, go in the corner, just away from everyone, just sobbing, just, okay, like, get your shit together, Isaac. I remember telling myself, just come on. And it's so weird how it just hits you out of nowhere, blindsides you, and you're just sitting there and you just, okay, get through this. And I felt like I relapsed, but at the end, I probably wouldn't have changed it. You know, at first I was like, why did I do this? My trip's ruined. I'm just so upset again. I'm just remembering that. But then I was able to work through it. But for somebody going through it, the thing is, and actually Casey's the one, and, told me this, Casey Curry, she goes, it doesn't get any easier, Isaac. And Jamie said the same thing. It doesn't get any easier. But hearing them say that was nice, because everyone's like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be time. Time will heal. And no, you got to just really, if you're going through it, you got to just suck it up and really just keep moving. Just keep doing anything to keep yourself busy. Don't get wrapped up in it. It's so easy to get wrapped up in grief. So easy to remembering the things you should have done, the things you wish you could have done. It's a never ending cycle, and it's not going to change. Okay. There's no alternate universe, reality, whatever, that's going to change that. Even if things happen the way they did, they're there. Again, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm not angry at God. People are like, don't be angry at God. I'm not angry at God. I'm not mad at the world. I just miss her. That's it. And some days are good, some days are bad, but one of the things too is tell somebody is, a buddy of mine, he lost his son in a tragic accident from high school, and he reached out to me. His name's Greg. And the best advice he gave me was, remember to breathe. Isaac, and it's true, remember to breathe. And when you're going through it, just breathe. Take a deep breath and breathe. And just find things around you to help you through this. Because it's something in life that we're all going to experience. Now, no, not your child, but they say death and taxes, right, are the two things that are certain in life. No, the third is grief. If you've ever loved somebody, loved a thing, you are going to have grief. And when it creeps up on you, man, it's, like they said, it's like an ocean. It's nice and calm. And other days, it's crashing in on you where you feel like you can't even breathe. To the point to where you just start questioning everything. You question who you are, the person you are, if you're the same person. Like this job I have now, I have the dream job, a great job. And, I'm thankful that Nathan has been really patient with me, because I took this job just months after Melissa passed. And I look back now, I'm like, why didn't you fire me back then? Because I was not, I said, I'm sorry, you're not getting 100% me. And I felt like I was letting him down. So, even today, I still feel like I let him down, because I have my moments of this grief just taking over, and it's trying to break out of it. It's just hard. It's hard. It's a vicious cycle, but, and then again too, I'm also a dad. I'm with Junior a lot, and I got to show you as a dad, you want to lead by example. Mm-hmm. Listen, son, you can't give up. You cannot just lock yourself in a room and just, be sad. And it's so easy to do that. I could see how someone could just isolate themselves.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, Brandi has the opportunity to work at home with her job. But after Melissa passed, she chose to go into work a half a day. She's smart. She knew I need to get out of the house, go out, get out of the house, and then come back and work the other half. And Brandi was getting herself out there. Brandi's a very independent person. I mean, definitely stronger than me with a lot of the stuff. And with us, we've been lucky because when she's grieving hard, I'm okay. When I'm grieving hard, we're able to bounce each other out.
Yeah.
And things. And it's been, the first year was rough with us. I mean, she's probably wanted to set me on fire, and I probably wanted to punch her in her ovaries, but her and I, we worked through it. It was definitely hard.
Yeah.
But like, I got to, Brandi and I, we got to show our kids though. You still got to show up and go to work. And, it's, luckily our jobs have been pretty good. And again, shout out to Nathan for being patient with me, because there are times I know I've let him down. I've let a lot of people down just because the grief I'm going through. And, sometimes, even too, you start lashing out. You're not the same person, you just, and it's, some people, they're used to seeing you a certain way, but it changes you in a way you can't explain.
Yeah. Well, I'll say, like, I've had a couple of conversations with Junior, and I'm like asking like how you guys are doing and everything. And I think it's really cool how real and honest you are with him. And I know you guys probably try to protect and hide a lot of things from them, but at the same time, I feel like it's grown them and helped them understand and like become such like strong individuals, because they see like how real and open that you guys are as parents. And there are things that I still feel like you guys protect them from knowing, because some kids just don't need to know what their parents go through.
Yeah.
But to also to like have like those real conversations with them and be like, this is where I'm at, and I need you to understand that, because I'm going through it, and I love you as a parent, but I need you to know where I'm at. And I think it's good for the kid to know that, and to know it's okay to like push through and go through it.
What's great about Junior is we're around each other enough and a lot to when he knows I'm the type of guy where it's like, I always told him, I'm like, I take care of you. You don't got to worry about taking care of me. But I mean, truthfully, he does take care of us. And I heard him make a comment one time. He said, they go, how you doing one time? And I was just kind of overhearing. He goes, I have my days, but I need to be there for my mom and dad. I mean, you got to realize this kid will show up at our house with a pound of shrimp and ribeye steaks and say, let's barbecue. And when he knows I'm going through something, there are times where like I didn't realize it. He'll just come and put his hand on my shoulder. He doesn't try to fix me. He doesn't ask me if anything's okay. Because again, I'm his dad, and it's just, he doesn't want to be that, talk to me, dad, tell me your feelings. I'm sorry. I'm not wired that way. My dad was the same way, but I know it's a man thing, whatever, but he knows when I am, and he knows how to kind of work his way around without trying to be too caring. And I catch it later on. I'm like, oh, because like we'll be driving, and I'll drift off and start thinking about something, and then he'll start bringing up something, talking about a subject and that, and then when I get back, I'm like, that little shit, yeah, he saw me going through something, and he brought this up, and that's why he started doing this. So
Yeah.
He's great. He's been really great through this whole process. And even my oldest daughter too. I mean, she's been great with her mom. I mean, it's what was really neat now, Reagan. I said neat. Sorry. What's really cool? What's really cool though now is because we work from home now, and my daughter also works from home sometimes. And so for this year, for like their birthdays, we actually went in the middle of the week. The four of us, Junior's girlfriend wasn't there. My daughter's, husband wasn't there, and love them both. But it was just us as an old, the original family, right? When we would all go out to lunch, the four of us, because there's a time where you and your siblings and your parents are all going to be together under the same roof together, and it's going to be the very last time you're together. And you don't even know it until down the road, or even just to do stuff together. And I was like, when was the last time all of us just went to the mall, went to dinner, and went shopping after. When was the last time we did that? And we were trying to look back and think, and I mean, it had to have been like 2013, 2012, and we're able to do that now. And it's, so cool because connecting that way again with the kids has been nice.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share about Melissa or about Brandi before we move on to the questions?
No, Brandi did not,
she was very, very humble on
she
her
was
last
very humble.
on the last week's podcast. Yes.
She really was, because the stuff that she did and had to do, and the times that she was so frustrated where she would just break down. And I mean, it's so heartbreaking. And, watching, just watching her, because when you can't help your child is the worst feeling in the world. Oh, it sucks. And you just got to sit there, and something's bad happening to them, like they're sick or something, and you just cannot be there. And it's like, the day she passed, I thought I knew everything, because she pulled so many false alarms, Melissa, to where I felt I was always crying wolf, little boy that cried wolf, right? And the day she passed, Brandi came downstairs, and when it hit her, when she, and they call it the death rattle, and the way her jaw dropped, the way she looked, and I'm like, they go, we should take her up to primary. Something's not quite right, because it was I always stayed up with her. That's the one thing, with a Black Rifle Coffee, I was thankful for, is they allowed me to stay at home, because I would take the night shift with Melissa. I'd sleep in her room, and I would be there from 9 p.m. till like 6 in the morning, 3 in the morning. And that night, though, I'm like, Brandi, something's not right. And Brandi goes, oh my, she just clicked in her head. I'll never forget the look of her face. She's just the fear, the horror, the sadness in her face when she realized, Isaac, that's a death rattle. And I'm like, what? And the one time I do Google something and it's correct. And just not being able to help your child right there in that situation was so hard. It's, it just takes us, I don't know what to say, just that she handled it very well. She really did. And again, doing this all too, what I like to call, cold turkey, doctors offered us, what do they call it again? Prozac, things like that, offered us Valium, whatever, like that stuff. No, we didn't mess with any of that. She handled it like a champ. And it was definitely the hardest thing, but to watch a mother lose a child it's not fair. Because, she carried her, she did everything for her. And when, as a dad, you got to sit there and I always say, you just got to take it. You got to take it. Nothing you can do. But then when you look over at the mom, your wife and the mom there, and the mom's looking at that child, your heart breaks another way. My heart hurt for Brandi in a way I, again, can't explain, just because, Melissa was her life, her everything. Everything revolved. Brandi drove a minivan, did not care about driving a van. She drove a minivan, never complained about driving a minivan. She didn't care. Whatever Melissa needed, she did. And so, but for Brandi and even moms, it was just natural. So to her, it was natural. That's why when she was telling her story, it was like, oh yeah, it's just natural.
There's not a question that there was never another option that you wouldn't do for your kid.
Another option. Yeah. I will say, there's a part of the story that when she got sick and we found out how disabled, she was going to be, the brain injury, because they didn't know how severe it was. There's a chance she was going to be like a vegetable, just no emotion, no nothing. Mm-hmm. And they came to us and they were giving us the option to put her in a home. All right. They give her to the state. We could not comprehend what they were telling us. We're like, wait. Oh, so this is a rehab facility for Melissa, where we'll go. She'll go there, get better, and we'll come and grab her and take her back. They're like, well, no, you could visit her and you could take her for visits, but she would live there. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I could not comprehend what they were saying. I understand why they give that option though. because there are some people that mentally and physically can't take care of, a child like that. And so that when that happened, I'll never forget. I could not. It took me a while to realize what was happening, and then Brandi was on my way almost offended, like they would even ask us that question. Like, no, that's my baby.
Yeah.
I mean, Brandi would have given up anything again. And Brandi had a very successful career in the mortgage industry. I mean, even when the mortgage industry crashed, she could have taken other positions and been pretty. I mean, she was making damn good money. And I had no problem with my wife making more money than me. I'm like, well, I'm working for the state. I'm going to go play. Woohoo. Yeah, be my sugar mama.
Let me go hunting.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. And she had a chance to really grow in that industry because she was well known to being a hard worker and very detail oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Again, firstborn, women are way more detail oriented than us guys. And she was amazing at that job. And she could have had a very successful career. But then Melissa being sick, being off of work and everything. And so, yes, I am sitting here gassing up, hyping up my wife. And I know it's very cliche to say that, but really, I'm really proud of her. And I know I tell her that, and I will say it on social media, but you know what they say, when people say nice stuff about their spouse on social media, it means they're a pretty toxic relationship. But no, there are some times where as dads and that, you don't realize how hard it is, because the times when I did take that FMLA with Melissa, I took 3 months off to be with her, be a stay-at-home mom. That was rough. You're at home, you're taking care of a child and my dad, and there's nothing to do. I mean, thank God I had a bow and arrow. What I'd do.
Yeah.
And, moms, I mean, so all the stay-at-home moms out there, mad respect for you. But then also to you working moms, taking your kid to that daycare, I know is hard. But I promise you, it's so good for them. Because I never went to daycare. I had a stay-at-home mom. And trust me, I think that's what had a lot to do with me struggling in school, too. So you working moms, too. I mean, moms are special. Moms are very special. My mom's still around, and she's great, and my mom's the type of person where no matter what happens, I didn't do it. Even if I did do it, my mom's, nope, my son didn't do it. Moms are very special. So that's one of the things I just wanted to just come on here and just talk more, just say, hey, I'm really proud of Brandi for what she did. 18 years of doing that and being in throw up, poop, pee, everything. I mean, blowing up diapers and that. I mean, she was
And dad's
amazing.
still being the favorite. I don't know what it is about dads. Just agreeing over there.
One of the favorite stories was Melissa would whine and be like she's hurting. And it was in the morning. And she was just whining. And Brandi's just like, Melissa, what's wrong? What's wrong? And she was just getting frustrated. And Brandi's just stressing out. And Brandi's like, what is wrong, Melissa? And I walk downstairs. I go, where's my baby? And she just heard my voice. And I hear Brandi go, are you fucking kidding me? And Melissa, she's smiling. She goes, you can have her. She wants you. But when Melissa was sick, she did not want me. I could honestly say that. When she was sick, wasn't feeling well, she did not want me. She wanted a mom.
What was one of your favorite things to do with Melissa?
Go on social media with her and hang out with her, and just kind of just talk with her and just, I called her my little buddy. And the way that started was I was working at Easton, and then was at Badlands and in Easton, and you had to do a lot of stuff on camera, and I was horrible on camera. If you're not used to being on camera, I was so bad. So
it's a craft that some people have, and some people it's awkward.
And so for me, I would just go on social media and do these little clips with Melissa, because I'm like, well, here's the deal. I'm going to do them with her to get comfortable.
Yeah.
And so that's how people got to see Melissa. And I just started going on there, hey, Melissa, say hi to everybody, and just do all these little fun things with her and film her and I. And honestly, my favorite thing was just to lay down next to her, listen to music, and just get our little phone out, record little fun videos, talk trash on mom, and just do those. I mean, to the extent where, a lot of people would, started recognizing Melissa and recognizing me, from Melissa. Because I worked with this guy at Easton one time, and he said, dude, you're such an asshole. But then I see you with your daughter. You're such a nice dude. And I'm like, I go, you get it.
Yeah.
You you get it. You worked with me. And so that's why on Melissa's death certificate, they put her occupation. Brandi put social media influencer.
Stop. That's awesome.
She did. Because I told the story on that video when with Josh when we went elk hunting. But I ran this guy at Pennsylvania Total Archery Challenge. I wish I remembered his name. And he goes, Melissa was all of ours. We all watched her grow up. And she was all of ours. So, and that kind of hit me like, yeah, it was great. So
Yeah, her spirit spread to so many people.
her smile. Yeah. So she was great. She loved unconditionally, never judged, just loved.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Okay, let's get to these questions.
All right. Am I going over?
It doesn't matter.
All right.
We don't look at time.
Here we go. Questions.
We don't care about time here. Okay. You know, I had some, but I might want to switch some around. I know.
Go right ahead.
Okay, let's see. Actually, I'm going to do a couple. I'm going to do a couple of the would you rathers that she did. And then I'm going to go and do a couple of the other questions.
Okay.
Okay. Would you rather do laundry or clean dishes?
I just learned to do laundry 5 years ago.
Really?
I never, ever had to do laundry. Again, I was the baby. My mom did it for me. Did it for me.
Okay.
And then Brandi did it. And again, Brandi is independent and a little OCD. So she had to do everything. Because if I did it, I did it wrong. I mean, if you want to see Brandi freak out, just put me in the kitchen cooking while she's in there and me moving stuff, like going to the pots and pans. And she starts, like one time her sister was living with us, her little sister cooked us dinner. And the whole time Brandi's in there like this, right? So I just learned to do laundry, honestly, 5 years ago and during the pandemic. And so, yeah, I would rather do laundry because it's easy. Just put it all in one great big load, put the little pod thingy in, run it, you're good. Laundry all day long.
Okay. I like it. Step on a Lego or hit a toe on furniture?
Oh, hit a toe on furniture. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Step on Legos come on. I have really soft feet. Okay. Really soft feet. So that would hurt.
Are you one of those hunters that wears the socks or like takes your shoes off?
No, because I have really soft feet.
Okay.
So
You'd
no,
probably
I
start
don't.
crying like a baby and then the deer would run away.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your child's favorite cartoon character that you would have as a roommate?
SpongeBob.
Isn't that what you said opposite last week? You said you hated SpongeBob? Yeah, she hates SpongeBob.
SpongeBob because again, SpongeBob is kind of like Junior. I could just trick him into doing things and and keep him busy. I mean, again, yeah, you could trick him into doing things. Like Junior was great because Junior was like the kid too. Where I'm like, hey, you're the fastest, so go get me a drink out of the fridge.
Let's time you and see how fast you can go.
Yeah, so
you were that dad.
Yes.
Okay. Would you rather sing everything you say or have one song play the whole day?
Oh, one song play the whole day. Because if I sing everything I said, could you imagine what that would be? Holy cow. Do you know how many times when I'm even working too, and I'll actually be in deep of an email, and then I'm start thinking of me fighting dragons or some shit like that? I mean, and how that comes out. Seriously, my mind is like this. A lot of stuff goes on up in there, okay? So,
oh my goodness.
So yeah, have one song play the whole time. If I sang everything I said, especially when I'm thinking about Brandi, I guarantee it'd be censored too. So
yeah, this would be past R rating. Just kidding. Okay, if you could pick now to the normal quizzes, if you could pick anywhere in the world to hunt, where would you go? And you just chucked off a bucket list one, so.
Yes, I did. You know what? Anywhere in the world I could hunt and where I would go, I would like to go hunt like one of like Spain or somewhere to hunt like the ibex, one of those cool animals like that.
Yeah.
Somewhere like that.
That'd be awesome.
That would be fun. Or again, or Hawaii. Access deer in Hawaii and go. Hawaii's cool. But yeah, ibex, like some Spain or something like that. Something like, or like New Zealand, the tar, those.
Yeah.
Something with those cool little goats. Nothing really big. I like the small, chill,
funky
Yeah,
animals.
but just something like completely epic and
Yeah.
scenery you've
Yeah.
never seen before.
Yes, yeah, Spain or like New Zealand or Australia. something
Okay.
like that.
If you could have any superpower to make you a better hunter, what would it be? Or just any superpower.
Any superpower. I mean, honestly, the teleportation thing, maybe a teleport somewhere is right there.
Yeah.
That would be the ultimate superpower right there. So I could just don't have to worry. Because again, I have ADHD. Trying to move in quietly on an animal does not work for me sometimes.
I love it. What's your funniest hunting fail?
Funniest hunting fail. I don't fail, Reagan.
You don't fail.
I mean, come on. Really? I don't fail.
You-
She doesn't know. I mean, because she's really never been. Actually, it was this year, matter of fact. Yes. My hunting fail this year was I could have tagged out right there on the side of the road of a pretty decent deer. But I had her, Brandi was with me. And I'm like, this is going to be either a long night because where the animal was, where he would probably go. This would be such a long night trying to get this out of here. We really weren't prepared. There's no way, in hell this is going to work out. So, and I remember I was at full draw. I let down and I look back. I'm like, I just should have did it because I ended up eating my tag. So that's probably one of my biggest fails. But I mean, my fails are really just me screwing up the stock because I'm just too quick, too noisy, and just go.
ADD.
ADD, man.
I love it.
Power.
Do you have a pre-hunt ritual or a good luck charm?
No, not really. No good. Actually, I do got a kind of a good luck charm. Good buddy of mine named Adam Bender. He gave me these little coins that he makes, pals. If you ever seen the movie Young Guns, it's not easy having pals. He gave me this coin, and then he also gave me this horseshoe that he got when he was over in somewhere. Where's Swarovski made again? In Austria? Yeah, over in Austria. But this brass little horseshoe, I carry those on me all the time on every hunt. And then before hunt is usually breakfast burritos, rancheritos, or Betos is the thing we do.
I love it. Any advice, any piece of advice that you would give somebody working in the industry?
Don't plan on making a lot of money. Number one. Number two, don't plan on going on a lot of hunts. Again, I worked, 5 years at Badlands, 7 years at Easton. I never got to go on any hunts. If I went on hunts, I had to use my vacation. It wasn't until I went to a coffee company where they sent me on hunts and allowed me to go hunt on my time and paid for it. And then the startup company, All In, has been amazing with that. Again, just the greatest, startup companies. But if you get a job in the hunting industry, it's hard, it's very rare that unless you work your way up to the marketing side of things, it's very rare you're going to be going on hunts all the time. So just be prepared not to make a lot of money, not going to go on hunts, but the friendships and the connections you make will last a lifetime.
Okay. And then just anything else that you would like to end good advice for the podcast listeners or just in the podcast on a good note?
There's one quote I like to tell everybody, and I said I want this on my headstone when I die. And I don't know who said it, but I read it somewhere. It said, it's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's who knows you. That's what's important in life.
Love it. You've told that many times, but I feel like if you're saying it in that point, if it changes the perspective of how you think about that.
It really has, because again, when Melissa passed, the amount of people that came together to support us I'll always be thankful for the industry, for the friends, the family that all helped out. And, it's been really good. And even now I still got people within this industry that reach out to check on me. So it's been really good. But Reagan, I want to thank you again, because besides the kids, all right, Brandi's kids, you and Charity from, what's the name of her thing again? Ghost Town Jewelry. All right.
you and Charity are the only two. Well, not only, but you two reached out to Brandi to wish her a happy Mother's Day. Thank you for that, because to be truly honest here is Brandi really didn't want to celebrate Mother's Day because she's like, I'm missing one. But again, you know, our kids wished her happy Mother's Day, but you and Charity wished her a happy Mother's Day, and it meant the world to her. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for pushing her to do this, because I'm just glad that she like got out of her comfort zone, told her story, and I'm glad that you did a follow-up to really like let people understand like the sacrifice of what the definition of mother is like Brandi through and through, and how like wholesome her heart is, and like humble she is, and with like out a question she would do anything for all three of them and for you. And yeah, you guys are awesome. I love you both so much, and thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Thank
Yep.
you. That was so good.